PlayStation has officially lost their damn minds. If you don't believe me, take a look at this. So I've been meaning to make a video on this ever since the PS5 Pro was announced last Tuesday, September 10th, but I did not want to make a reactionary video, sorta like everyone else did. I wanted to take some time and really think about the current situation at PlayStation. So now that the dust is settled, how are we feeling about Sony PlayStation? Well, I'll tell you how I feel. I feel that PlayStation seriously needs some competition right now, otherwise we're fine. They're getting arrogant again, complacent, they're not speaking to their fan base anymore, they haven't announced new games in God knows how long. They're doing the bare minimum to keep things floating, and they also want to sell you a $700 digital console. But before diving into that whole PS5 Pro fiasco, let's talk about the PS5 generation first. On June 11th of 2020, Sony did their first proper PS5 showcase, in which they revealed their first batch of PS5 only games, which ironically, most of them turned out to be PS4 games as well, but that's most likely due to the shortage, so I understand. They revealed two PS5 models, one digital and the other with a disk drive, and we'll go back to the prices of these consoles later, but everything was good back then. People were very excited for the console and the games. The launch lineup was amazing, especially compared to the competition, which literally didn't have any new games on offer, so they kinda made it easier for most people to go with the PS5. The first year in general was amazing, with stellar titles like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Returnal. 2021's September showcase was alright. It wasn't on the same level as 2020's showcase, which is to be expected. I mean, it only had like 10 minutes of first party reveals, but it was alright. So at that time, no one was really complaining. Of course, everything started to change in 2022, when Sony decided to not only drop the first party games on PS4, drop PS4 games on PC, and try to charge an extra $10 for the PS5 version of Horizon Forbidden West, after having already stated that it will cost the same as the PS4 version. Granted that they fixed that, and Jim Ryan had to apologize in a blog post, but they also spent the entire year without a proper showcase. People still remained positive though, including myself, and how can we not when we had 3 tentpole titles releasing in the same year back to back. So here comes 2023, PSVR 2 is here, it's a PS5 accessory, and yet it costs more than the PS5 itself. Now for me personally, it's 100% worth it, even for that launch price. And you guys know me, I'm a huge believer in PSVR 2. In fact, if it wasn't for PSVR 2, now that Sony is releasing the games on PC, I would have probably sold my PS5 like a year ago and bought a PC instead. But even me, as someone who loves PSVR 2, I can still acknowledge that Sony was out of their minds to charge $550 or €600 if you live in Europe for an accessory, a very niche accessory. I get it, the technology is high-end, but if you really want this VR headset to sell, if you really want VR to become mainstream, then you must eat the cost. Just like what you did when you first launched the PS5. And then, on May 17th of last year, after almost 2 years without a proper showcase, Sony finally announced that they're doing a PS5 showcase on May 24th. Everyone was hyped, everyone thought that this is it. This will be E3 2016 all over again. 2 years without a showcase, 3 years into the life cycle of PS5, the timing was right, or so we thought, because they only showed us one single player first party game, which is Spider-Man 2, a game we already knew that it was coming, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it didn't live up to the hype when it came out, at least in my opinion. But other than Spider-Man 2, they revealed Helldivers 2, which ended up being one of the biggest games of 2024, and then there is the CGI trailer of Marathon, fair games, and of course the biggest flop of the generation, Concord. Now I wanna remind people that Herman Holst, the current CEO of PlayStation, has put out a tweet in April of 2021 saying that he is having a lot of fun playing Concord. Yikes. I'm sorry Herman, but if you actually thought Concord was fun, then I'm not so sure you're the right man for the job. Fast forward to 2024, Helldivers 2 and Astrobot, absolutely massive hits. No PSVR 2 first party games though, Concord of course massive flop, it literally died 2 weeks after release, and no showcase so far, meaning no big PS5 first-party reveals since the announcement of Wolverine back in September of 2021. I'm gonna repeat this again, and I want you to really think about this for a second. No major PS5 first-party reveals since September of 2021. That's 3 years with zero major announcements. If you ask me today, what are the first-party PSVR 2 games to look forward to, I would say I have no idea. And if you ask me again the same question about PS5, I still have no idea. Because other than Marathon, which is a Bungie game, Sony had nothing to do with it, they just bought the studio, and other than Wolverine and Fair Games, which may suffer the same fate as Concord, I literally have no idea. 4 years into the generation, and we don't have a roadmap, not for PS5 and not for PSVR 2. And then they have the audacity to reveal a digital PS5 Pro and price it at $700 USD/800 euros. To put things into perspective, the PS5 digital model launched with a $400 price tag in 2020. Sony wants you to pay almost double the price just so you can play The Last of Us for the 1000th time, only this time it will be better because it will run at 4K 60 instead of 1440p 60. You see where I'm going with this? It's absolutely ridiculous that they think they can sell a mid-gen digital console with no new games and for almost double the price of the base console, like Sony. Are you alright, bro? What happened to you? Where is that Sony of the PS4 generation that was firing on all cylinders and that everyone loved? This is why we need competition. This is why when Microsoft announced that they're bringing the games to PS5, unlike most people, I was not happy that day. This is what happens to companies when there is no one else left in the field but them. Now, is the PS5 Pro a bad console? Of course not, it's a great console. Is it a good investment though? Hell no. I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your money, it's your money. If you wanna pre-order that $700 PS5 Pro with no disk drive and with no vertical stand, then be my guest. But just know that by doing so, you'll be sending Sony the wrong message, because think about it. If a digital PS5 Pro costs $700, then how much do you think the more powerful PS6 will cost? We're entering PC territory here. It's like Sony wants us to stop buying their consoles and just get a PC. No exclusives, no roadmap, expensive consoles, and of course if you want to play online, you gotta subscribe to PS Plus. Sony is completely out of touch, and even though they don't have any competition at the moment, if they keep walking down the same road, it will eventually bite them in the ass. But that's just what I think. I'm interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments if you too believe that Sony is losing it, or if you think they're doing fine, and you don't really have a problem paying $700 for a digital PS5 Pro. Thank you for watching, I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, take care.